In this video, we are going to learn how to solve linear inequalities in one unknown. The method of solving linear inequality is the same as solving linear equation. In linear inequality, we are dealing with inequality sign. Less than, more than, less than or equal, more than or equal. One basic rule that you have to remember when you solve linear inequality is to flip the inequality sign when you multiply or divide by a negative number. I will bring you through a few examples in this video. Let us start with a simple example. Example 1. We want to find the values of x such that x plus 2 is always less than 4. In order to do this, we will have to eliminate 2 from the left hand side here and make x alone. In order to do this, we will subtract 2 from the left hand side. Now, you notice that we are subtracting 2 from the left hand side. In order to make the inequality balance, we will do the same thing on the right hand side. And then we simplify. Now we have x plus 2 minus 2, which is x plus 0, which is x lesser than 2. Now you notice that we have made x alone here, and hence we have reached the solution. In other words, the values of x that satisfy x plus 2 less than 4 must be less than 2. Now, let us see more example. Example 2. We want to find the values of x such that negative x plus 2 less than or equals to 4. Using the same approach as in example 1, we will first subtract 2 from both sides. And then simplify. Now you notice that we have a negative sign here attached to x. What we are looking for in our solution is to find out the values of x alone. Therefore, we need to eliminate the negative sign here. Before we proceed to eliminate the negative sign here, do note that negative x here means negative 1 times x. And therefore, we are going to solve negative 1x less than or equals to 2. Now, in order to eliminate negative 1 here and make the coefficient of x a positive 1, we have two methods. The first method is to multiply negative 1x by negative 1. The second method is to divide negative 1x by negative 1. Now, I'll bring you through both methods. For the first method, I will multiply negative 1x by negative 1. I will do the same thing on the right hand side to ensure that the inequality is balanced. Now, we have mentioned earlier that when we multiply an inequality by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality sign. And now I will flip less than or equal to be more than or equal. Now I will simplify this inequality further. And so on the left hand side, we have negative 1 times negative 1x, which gives us positive 1x, which is x. On the right hand side, we have negative 2. Now you notice that we have made the coefficient of x a positive 1, and hence we have reached the solution, which is x more than or equals to negative 2. Now I will show you the method of division. Now, in order to make negative 1x a positive 1x, we will divide negative 1x by negative 1. We will start from this inequality. Now, we divide both sides of the inequality by negative 1, and don't forget to flip the inequality sign. And then we will simplify. On the left, we have negative 1 divided by negative 1, which is a positive 1, and we get x on the left hand side. On the right, we have negative 2. Now once again, we have made x alone here with a positive 1 as the coefficient, and hence we have reached the solution. Now you notice that in method A and method B, we have reached the same solution. This once again reminds us that when we multiply or divide by a negative number, we must not forget to flip the inequality sign. Now let's see one more example. Example 3. We want to find the solution of this inequality. As shown in the previous two examples, we will first subtract 2 from both sides. And then simplify. Now you notice that we have a negative 3 attached to x here, and therefore we have to make the coefficient of x a positive 1. Once again, we have two methods of doing this. Firstly, we can multiply by negative 1/3, or we can divide by negative 3. In the first method, I will multiply by negative 1/3. And don't forget to flip the inequality sign to be less than. Now we have negative 1/3 times negative 3 gives us a positive 1. And therefore we have x on the left hand side less than. On the right, we have negative 1/3 times negative 6 gives us a 2. Now once again, please check that the coefficient of x here is positive 1, and hence we have reached the solution, which is x less than 2. Now let's do the division method. We will start from the inequality negative 3x more than negative 6. And now we shall divide this inequality by negative 3. And now we shall flip the inequality sign, become less than. And then we simplify. Now, negative 3 divided by negative 3, we have a positive 1, and the left hand side becomes x. On the right, we have 2. Now, once again, we see that both methods give us the same solution, which is x less than 2. Therefore, do remember to flip the inequality sign when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Now, I will bring you through another more complicated example. Example 4. Now you notice that in this inequality, there are two brackets. The first step is to remove the brackets. By using the distributive law, we will distribute 2 into x plus 1. Similarly, we will distribute 3 into 4 minus x. Firstly, we multiply 2 to x. We have 2x. And we multiply 2 to 1, and we get 2. More than or equals to 3 multiplied to 4, we get 12. And then 3 multiplied to negative x. And lastly, we add the 4. Now, let us simplify the numbers on the right. 12 plus 4. Now, you notice that in this inequality, we have terms with x appear on both sides, which are 2x and negative 3x. We would want to get the term with x on the same side. In order to do this, we will add 3x to this inequality. And then simplify. Now, on the left, we have 2x plus 3x. They are like terms, and we can add them together to be 5x. And on the right, we have 16. Now we will simplify further. First of all, we need to eliminate 2 from the left hand side. And so we will subtract 2 from both sides. And now we have 5x more than or equals to 14. And in order to get x, we will divide by 5. Now, you can divide 5x by 5 in order to get positive 1x, or you can multiply 5x more than or equals to 14 by 1/5. You can choose either one of the methods that we have discussed earlier. And now, let's simplify further. And therefore, we have x on the left hand side, and on the right, I'm going to write it in a mixed fraction. And now you check that we have reached the solution with x having positive 1 as the coefficient. And you notice that in this example, we do not flip the inequality sign because we do not multiply the inequality by a negative number as well as dividing it by a negative number. And this is our solution. Now, I will show you one last example. Example 5. Now, you are given this inequality, negative 8 less than or equals to x plus 5 less than 4. In the earlier examples, the inequalities involve one inequality sign. However, in this inequality, it involves two inequality signs. One is less than or equal, another one is less than. Now, how do we solve this kind of inequality? In order to solve this inequality, we will have to split both inequality signs. First of all, we look at the left-hand side of this inequality. Now I will extract the left hand side of this inequality and write it separately as one inequality. And then I will look at the right hand side of this inequality, which is x plus 5 less than 4, and I will extract it out and write it separately. Now you notice that negative 8 less than or equals to x plus 5 and x plus 5 less than 4, both of them come from the same inequality here, and hence we will write this word here, n. Alright, now we are going to solve this inequality in blue here, as well as inequality in green here, separately. For the first inequality, we will have to minus 5 from both sides. And then we simplify. Now we have negative 13 less than or equals to x. Let me write x on the left hand side, and I will just flip the inequality sign, and therefore the solution for the first inequality is x more than or equals to negative 13. Next, we will proceed to solve the second inequality in green, x plus 5 less than 4. We will first minus 5 on both sides. And then simplify. Now, the solution for the inequality in green here is x less than negative 1. And now we shall write the solution for the original inequalities. Alright, now we will combine these two inequalities and we will write it as a conclusion. Now we have x less than negative 1. This is from the green inequality, and we'll combine with the solution from the blue inequality. Now we have this inequality, x less than negative 1 and more than or equals to negative 13. And this inequality will be the solution for the original inequality. Now we have come to the end of solving linear inequalities. In conclusion, the method of solving linear inequality is the same as solving linear equation. Do bear in mind that we have to flip the inequality sign when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Now you can complete example 6, 7, 8 and 9 in the chapter 5 notes. Enjoy!